Yes, we are going to be doing a little bit of a tease today. Of course, we are going to be talking about pain management and what people can do for pain relief. And the way the information is being presented is in the style of our upcoming NOVA event in January. So, of course, the theme for NOVA this year is heart to heart. And from my perspective, one of the best and greatest things that anyone can do for their fellow human is to provide them with pain relief. So we're going to be going through that, the specifics, the protocols, what products you use and why, how the pain relief works, because people will want to know about that, the clinical studies that we have to substantiate the effects. And of course, we're going to give everyone the opportunity to ask lots of questions. So I'm very much looking forward to it.
Well, very, very good. So to get started here then, my understanding is that you have a little bit of information that you want to share with us in a presentation. Are you okay if we jump in right there?
Well, let's jump in and do it. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. And as Jeff was saying, I want to take the opportunity to thank all of our amazing leaders around the world. Thank all of our brand partners. November, of course, was an amazing month. We broke all kinds of records, the biggest month in the history of LifeWave, the biggest commission week in the history of LifeWave, the biggest single sales week, the biggest single sales day. So really, it's the success, your hard work that you do every day that allows us to bring our technology and our products around the world. And of course, also provide humanitarian effort around the world as well. So like Jeff, I want to express my thanks and appreciation for everything our brand partners and leaders do. Okay, so with that, let's go ahead and get started. And where we're going to start off today is on the science section of the website. And I thought what we might do would be a little bit different than the way we usually present information on LifeWave Connect. First, of course, the science section is an area where you can go and read information on some of our patents, our published studies, our other studies that we've done. And what's a little bit different about this is I want to go all the way back to a study that we did very early on in LifeWave. And this study shows visually what happens when you apply IceWave, what goes on in the body when we apply the patches. And this study actually was done on horses. Now, the first thing that you should know is that as a company philosophy, we do not do any, I apologize, my voice is a little dry today. We do not do any studies on animals that will in any way endanger the health or well-being of the animals. So when we are applying patches to horses, none of these horses are being sacrificed as you might have in a pharmaceutical study. Instead, this is completely non-invasive. And we are, of course, helping the horses to feel better. I'm an animal lover. My daughter and I have a Rottweiler and a Australian Shepherd. I love animals. And so we don't want to endanger the health or well-being of any animals. I used to have an old joke to say we experiment on humans before we ever experiment on animals. That's an old joke, so I won't use it anymore. But it just happens to actually be the truth. We experimented on humans before animals. So we know that's safe and effective. So first on a horse, on this study, we worked with Dr. Lauren Dirac, and she is a veterinary acupuncturist. And basically, for those of you that wouldn't be familiar to how you might patch a horse, the way that it works is you would use your thumb or your index finger to apply pressure along the spine, maybe along the same way that you might do with a human being. And the horse is going to jump or kick or move if there's a point of pain when you palpate, when you apply pressure. So that is how you're going to locate where to apply the patches on the horses. Now, there's another method here too about how to locate where the pain is, and it's going to be on this infrared image. So in this study, we worked with Dr. Dean Clark, and what you do is you take the horses and you put them into a controlled environment. So you make sure that you have the horse in there for 10 or 20 minutes. So you know that the readings that you're going to get are accurate. So once the environment reaches equilibrium, then you take these infrared images, and all of these red areas are areas of pain. So this is what if you had an acute or chronic neck or back pain, it might show up like this. Red areas are heat and inflammation. So we didn't have to take any blood or, God forbid, urine samples out of these horses. Instead, this was all done non-invasively with an infrared camera. Okay, so that's what it looks like. Now, by applying pressure to the spine, you can locate where the point of pain is, and we apply LifeWave patches, and then we can go back and film 10 or 20 minutes later. And you can see what happened after only 10 minutes of applying the patches. There was a dramatic reduction in pain and inflammation. As a matter of fact, you can go back now very, very quickly, less than 10 minutes, and apply pressure to that point of pain on the spine, and the horse will no longer kick or kind of get like a chill through its spine. The horse is no longer sensing pain. So what this tells you is that there's two different things that are going on here. One is that there's an immediate bioelectrical effect. So within seconds of applying the patches, I'm going to show you another study we did that demonstrates this. Within less than 10 seconds of applying LifeWave, the pain reduction starts. This is why when you're giving a demo, and myself and other leaders around the world, such as Royce Orjono, Nikki Chan, Larry Chang, who have demonstrated LifeWave, built their business for many, many years. They know from practical experience, you start applying the patches, and within seconds, they can go to work and you can get somebody out of pain very, very quickly. Then within about the first 10 to 20 minutes, we see the inflammation start to come down. So the message here is that when you're applying LifeWave or the other patches, there's going to be an immediate effect, but have that person relax, drink a glass of water, and monitor their progress, because they're going to continue to get better over the next 10, 20 minutes in the next hour. Here is, that was a published study, by the way, that we had. It was our very first published study, Journal of American Holistic Veterinary Medical Association. Here is another published study that we did. And this one was on human beings, and we used a electroacuoscope. And what was amazing, this was on 30 people, and what was amazing about this is that, again, we were able to measure bioelectrically that within seconds of application on this equipment, you could see a change in tissue conductivity. And if you come down over here, you see that we reached highly significant effects in reducing intensity and perception of pain. So this is all to say that when you are going to work with someone and you want to help them relieve pain, these products are tested, clinically proven, safe, effective, non-toxic, and they work incredibly quickly. This also helps to give us some insight about how we can work with people when we're marketing our products and our business. So the point of Nova and this whole idea of heart to heart is that we never want to sell anyone on anything. What we want to do is help people fulfill their needs. Maybe they need an extra $500 every month to pay for food and clothing for their family, or they want to save money for retirement. Maybe someone in the house is having pain or a problem sleeping, low energy. They want to heal a chronic wound. Whatever it is, we want to look at how can we improve this person's life and make this person's life better. And so that's the goal and the objective, not to sell them on something, but to find out how can we be of service to the person that we're working with. So as we get into the specifics here, I'm going to remind all of you that I am not a medical doctor. Anything that we talk about here should not be a replacement for medical advice. Any of these recommendations, they're my opinions based on years of research. Take these opinions to your healthcare practitioner and find out what is best for you or whoever it is you're working with. We don't want to put ourselves in the position that unless you're a healthcare practitioner, you shouldn't be giving people medical advice. We have general wellness products, and pain management, helping to support relief of pain, fits within the category of general wellness. Let's first talk about X39, really brief overview, since we've gone over this quite a bit. There are enormous benefits to X39, and it should be the first product that we all start with. So as you're going to introduce LifeWave to someone, introduce X39 first, because in an underlying health condition, when someone has pain, elevating levels of copper peptide is going to help manage inflammation. We know, of course, that it mobilizes stem cells, which is going to support the healing and the recovery process. But elevating copper peptide has the ability to help manage inflammation. So it is going to help to provide pain relief, right? And of course, the other benefit is that if we make cells young and healthy, then in effect, we're charging up the cell with energy. And that is a phenomena bioelectrically that is associated to reductions in pain. Whenever we are increasing energy metabolism, and this is how the energy patches and LifeWave work, they ramp up the metabolism of fats in the body to increase cellular energy. This process increases the flow of energy through the body. It increases the electrical charge on the cell membrane, and getting an improved energy flow is what's going to reduce pain, not covering it up with an analgesic. And of course, this is going to help to provide recovery. So we'll talk about this in a little bit more detail as far as what is pain. But the important thing is we don't want to mask pain. That's not what we're doing. What we're doing is getting the cells healthier by increasing their energy production, increasing the electrical charge around the cell, and improving the flow of energy through the tissue. That is what gets non-drug pain relief. And of course, this is going to, as a result, support overall well-being. Okay, so you meet someone casually, you have an appointment with them, maybe you notice that they're struggling with some pain, or they open up and they tell you about this. How can you help them? What's interesting is that regardless of whether or not we talk about pain relief from a Western or Eastern point of view, it's all described the same way. It's a blockage in the flow of energy. So there's no need to cover up the pain with a drug, unless it's very severe, of course. What we want to do, though, is restore the natural flow of energy through the tissue. And there's a number of ways that we can do this. So if you're on today and you're struggling with pain, you have many options. And I'm going to get into that. And that's what's so exciting, is that you don't have to live in pain. So we want to normalize tissue conductivity. That has to do with electrolytes. So a little bit of a teaser here. Electrolytes like sodium, potassium, calcium, magnesium, if you are deficient in those electrolytes, you are going to be experiencing pain, along with some other things. For example, did you know that if you're deficient in calcium, you could be experiencing insomnia or muscle cramps or general fatigue? If you have a deficiency of magnesium, which at least over 60% of the population does, if you have a deficiency in magnesium, that's going to affect well over 300 different metabolic pathways. Magnesium is a natural relaxant, so increasing the amount of magnesium that you get in your diet goes a long way to helping your body relax and relieve pain. Same thing with potassium. Potassium is absolutely critical for assisting with pain relief. And another benefit is that potassium helps to keep the arteries supple. So it's good for the health of your heart as well. And when there's an injury, let's say you damaged your knee, your elbow, and you've got some inflammation there, what we want to do is restore the flow of energy. So when there is a blockage to the flow of energy, there's a change in tissue conductivity, and that's a result of inflammation. The way the brain interprets that is to say, okay, the tissue has been damaged, the signal's been corrupted, so let's protect that area of the body from further injury. So that's where pain is coming from. So if we normalize the tissue, the pain is going to go away. So here are some options, and there are many options with our products. We're not going to cover everything today. The go-to, what's easiest, is X39 and Eon. So if you're just getting started, the good news is when you're patching someone, many times it's as simple as placing X39 on the back of the neck and Eon at the point of pain. Now, if they have pain throughout the body, you could apply Eon below the belly button. Or if they have pain throughout the body, and let's say it's a sore shoulder, they could apply Eon to the shoulder. They could pick the point on the body that's in the most pain, because we know through our blood studies that applying patches produces a systemic effect. But that would be a really easy protocol to start with. Anyone can do it, and the results are spectacular. Now, glutathione is another option. Keep in mind that when people have pain as a result of diabetic neuropathy, from arthritis, Parkinson's disease, these are all characterized by reduced levels of glutathione. Glutathione is neuroprotective, meaning it protects the nerves from damage. So if you deplete your glutathione levels, for sure, you are going to experience problems with your immune system, and you're leaving yourself open to chronic disease and injury. So this is why, since the pandemic or plandemic, whichever one you prefer, I've been recommending people take an NAC supplement, N-acetylcysteine, or make sure you are getting enough cysteine, that's an amino acid, in your diet, because you need cysteine to make glutathione. And glutathione helps, at least what's been shown, because I won't make a product claim, what's been shown with studies with N-acetylcysteine is that it is a very effective way to protect people from some of the serious effects of COVID. So I'd recommend you all take an NAC supplement or something to elevate glutathione that has cysteine. Now, LifeWave, of course, was our very first pain relief product. A really simple way to use LifeWave is just to apply it on the bottom of the feet. This is a way to sedate the nervous system. So let's say you're dealing with someone that has chronic pain. They've had pain for a long period of time. Maybe it's arthritis, maybe it is Parkinson's disease, something like that. If you want to help them relieve their pain, you're going to apply X39 behind the neck and LifeWave on the bottom of the feet. Now, we did a study with Professor Bruno Brandimart in Italy, very well-known guy. And what he found was that the fastest way of bringing up the bioelectrical energy in the body for pain relief, and keep in mind we didn't have X39 back then, was to place one set of LifeWave on the bottom of the feet. This would be on the kidney 1 acupuncture points. That's what's in our literature, in our IFU. And then a second set of LifeWave right up here. In acupuncture, it's on kidney 27, but it's right around the thymus. Okay, so white on right, tan on left. On many people, those points are going to be sore. And in acupuncture, that's on the beginning and the end of the meridian. Don't worry, we're not teaching acupuncture. But it's a very simple way to say that you can cover the entire body for pain relief by putting one set on the lower torso and one set on the upper torso. And let me just see how I'm doing on time. All right, good. We keep moving along here. Now, what are some other things that we can do to support pain relief? Well, first thing is, if we look in the literature, what we're going to see is that many times when people are in pain, they're dehydrated. And this is only further complicated with aging. So you don't have to give someone, if you're doing a demonstration, you don't have to give someone a glass of water. If you want to, it may improve the results. But keep in mind, many people today, they drink too much coffee or tea. They're not drinking water, and they're going to be dehydrated. If you're dehydrated, you can't make energy, and you can't have the hydration you need to conduct bioelectrical energy through the tissue. So very often when people are in pain, they'll get a great result by combining our products with water. And it should be clean, healthy water. Now, as I said before, the transmission of bioelectrical energy through the nervous system, through the meridians, is contingent upon not only hydration, but electrolytes. So look at your diet and see if you're getting enough calcium, potassium, and magnesium in your diet. Most people, of course, they get enough sodium and chlorine. So I definitely would look at, if you're in doubt, look at a supplement for potassium, magnesium, and calcium. With potassium, something like potassium citrate is good, 1,000 milligrams per day, covers a lot of bases. With calcium and magnesium, I like natural sources like algae cal. I think that's a good source. Definitely not calcium carbonate, which is chalk. And a calcium citrate could be okay. Magnesium, you've got lots of options. Magnesium glycinate is a really, really good one, or magnesium bisglycinate, another really good option. There's also magnesium taurate. And I really like magnesium taurate because taurine, most people get deficient in as they age, and magnesium taurate helps to bring up taurine levels slightly, but also relaxes the nervous system. And there's another form of magnesium too called magnesium threonate. And if you take magnesium threonate and calcium before going to bed, that goes a long way to relaxing the body. So if you're struggling with insomnia, high blood pressure, taking a calcium and magnesium and potassium supplement will go a long way to helping you with those things. And again, I'm not a medical doctor. If you have a serious health condition like high blood pressure, hypertension, please speak with your healthcare practitioner about those supplements. Now, another thing for pain relief, this is a really, really surprising one, copper. We recommend copper supplementation because X39 elevates copper peptide. So you have to have the amino acids there and you have to have the copper, and many people today are deficient in copper. So here's the bad news. Natural sources of copper are liver. Now, I will admit I love liver. I always have. But I know that many of you are not going to share that love with me. So another food which I would recommend is chocolate. Dark chocolate is very rich in copper. And if you want to make sure you're getting enough copper, a 2.5 milligram supplement of copper glycinate is going to go a long way. But in clinical studies, it was shown that people that had elevated levels of copper within normal range were able to tolerate pain much, much better. So copper is anti-aging, it's antiviral, antibacterial, anti-cancer, and it supports longevity because of copper peptide. So I would strongly recommend, if you're suffering with pain, that you take a daily supplement of copper or eat more dark chocolate and liver. Okay, NAC we've already talked about, N-acetylcysteine, an amino acid that is a precursor to glutathione. Elevating glutathione, it's a natural anti-inflammatory. It supports immune activity. So let's say you have arthritis. We know that arthritis is a result of the immune system basically attacking healthy tissue. So if we support the health of the immune system, we are going to be able to get arthritis and pain under control. So NAC is going to cover a lot of bases here. It's going to elevate glutathione and support glutathione levels. If you take NAC on its own, it's fine. But if you really want to get a rapid boost in glutathione, use our glutathione patch. So doing this, elevating glutathione is going to help to manage inflammation, support immune system, detoxify the body. And so it's wonderful. It should be a pillar of what you're doing to help manage pain. Now, there's certainly many other things that you can do here. Curcumin is a good example. It is a natural extract of turmeric. I know I don't pronounce that as the way some of you might, because I'm from New Jersey, so cut me a little bit of slack. Old habits die hard. But curcumin is wonderful, and BCM 95 is a natural extract. And because curcumin is such a broad spectrum anti-inflammatory, it is a wonderful addition to a pain management protocol. Olive oil is another one. Olive oil, as it turns out, organic olive oil. Make sure you get the real stuff, because there is a lot of fraudulent product on the market that comes from China. Olive oil is primarily monounsaturated fats, and it has life extension properties. As a matter of fact, many doctors that I've spoken with believe that the benefits of the Mediterranean diet are as a result of olive oil. So olive oil is a gene modulator. It's capable of activating sirtuin genes, perhaps even more effectively than resveratrol. So you may be able to get rid of resveratrol and substitute olive oil. Research on that is relatively interesting, but from the sake of longevity and managing inflammation, olive oil is amazing. There's one other here that's not on the list, and that's DMSO, dimethyl sulfoxide. It is it is something which has been not looked upon very favorably by the FDA here in the United States because it is so powerful. You can't overdo DMSO. Definitely speak with your doctor. If you took it internally, 2 tablespoons per week would be the maximum. DMSO is a blood thinner, but it's also a very, very powerful anti-inflammatory. It has I will warn you, it has the one side effect of making you smell like garlic all the time. Interestingly, DMSO and curcumin is a natural treatment for prostate cancer. So more on that maybe another day. So this would just be all to say, that those are things that you can do along with the patches that would be extremely powerful in managing pain and inflammation. So I think that's about the time I wanted to take on that.
Well, you know what is fantastic is you have a lot of fellow liver lovers out there, David. I think more than you would know. I saw the comments popping up. This is, I mean, it's what fantastic information and presented in such an easy and understandable way. The questions are flying in. One of the first ones, though, related is regarding consuming liver. Is there any specific type that you prefer?
Well, first of all, I would say if you're going to consume liver, keep in mind that liver is the filter of the body. So you want to have it organic. I would not consume liver unless I knew it was organic. For those people that want to take it on a regular basis, get the benefits and not eat it because it may not be convenient to eat or maybe difficult to get, there are companies that sell organic liver supplements from New Zealand. And so these would be capsules that have powdered desiccated liver in them. And I think that's a really, really good option. There's another benefit too to consuming liver on a regular basis, and that it's got an enzyme that will detoxify the liver of a number of different things, including viruses and xenoestrogens. So I'd recommend taking the liver supplement or eating liver because it's a very powerful way to detoxify. Plus, desiccated liver is also a great source of copper. So you can take that as your copper supplement. For those of you that are interested in building muscle, there are growth factors in liver. Jack LaLanne, who lived to, I think, 98 or 99, would consume like 100 liver tablets a day when he was training for an event. And old-time bodybuilders from the 50s, 60s, and 70s, they knew that liver could act, it was a very, very powerful bodybuilding supplement, way more than just a source of protein. And if you're elevating copper peptide protects the body against the negative effects of getting too much iron. Liver is a fantastic source of iron, but if you take too much iron, it damages healthy tissue. But fortunately, elevating copper peptide buffers iron in the body from damaging healthy tissue. So we get that in balance then.
Perfect. Okay, so a few other things here. There's a few questions coming in regarding, different types of pain, different sources of pain, acute, chronic, so on and so forth. But one of them is someone asked, I wonder if David would say a few words about the patches and neuropathic pain.
Okay, sure. Some questions on liver, by the way, beef or chicken. There's some slight differences. I would say either beef or chicken liver is fine. Either one is okay, as long as it's organic. I think beef liver might be a little bit easier to get. But yeah, generally either one is okay. Okay, so with regards to neuropathic pain, this is something that we have studied for many years now. And as a matter of fact, when we were initially doing our stem cell research, we were looking at treatments for diabetic neuropathy. So there can be two different types of neuropathic pain, let's say, that we studied, idiopathic or diabetic. So in diabetic neuropathy, the nerve damage is caused by elevated levels of blood sugar. So if a person is diabetic or has diabetic neuropathy, one of the things that you want to do is get their blood sugar under control. Other than diet, two ways of doing this is to elevate their glutathione and elevate alpha lipoic acid. So if someone were to take 300 milligrams of alpha lipoic acid 4 times a day, if they were insulin dependent diabetic, they could get a 60 to 65% decrease in their need for insulin. It's life-changing. We've seen some other things with X39 that are anecdotal in terms of getting blood sugar under control. But I'd say, I'd recommend a high protein, moderate fat diet, very low carbohydrate diet, get those blood sugar, intermittent fasting, get those blood sugar levels under control so you can mitigate any further damage. Next, I would be looking at elevating glutathione. Glutathione, which we've already talked about. Glutathione is neuroprotective. People that have neuropathy are going to have depleted levels of glutathione. So take a supplement, use our patch, but get those glutathione levels elevated. For applying the patches, I would try a few different things. Because neuropathic pain is typically going to be in the feet and the ankles, I'd be applying LifeWave on the bottom of the feet on a daily basis. There are a few other options. You could apply them on the inside of the ankles. So if you were to go 4 finger widths up from the ankle bone, right over there, there's an acupuncture point called spleen 6. I'd be applying, you could alternate between the bottom of the feet and the inside of the ankles with LifeWave. Simultaneously, I'd put X39 on the back of the neck to help manage the inflammation. And if there's a real bad point of pain, I might also add Eon or glutathione right to the point of pain. So neuropathy is a great example of how we would want to combine diet, moderate exercise, hydration, supplementation, and the patches to get a synergistic effect so we could get the best outcome possible. And of course, that's a medical condition, so a person needs to work with their doctor.
Yeah. It's kind of tagging on to that question. One of the questions coming out was, what about nerve pain specifically from surgeries? Any comments on that?
Yeah, nerve pain from surgery is definitely difficult. It's definitely a challenge. But, certainly I've done this, when I've had dental surgery along with many other people and recovering from surgery, and our products work extremely well. So if someone had nerve pain as a result of surgery and we're recovering, what I would do is apply 2 sets of LifeWave, one on the bottom of the feet and one up over here at the collarbone, or another possibility is on the inside of the elbows. That's in acupuncture heart 3, white on right, tan on left. These are going to give very rapid increases in energy in the body. I'd be using X39 behind the neck, and I'd apply Eon directly to the point of pain, or glutathione, but my preference would be Eon. I'd also be taking the supplements that we talked about and making sure person's getting proper nutrition. So that would be a very, very good program for dealing with something like pain, nerve pain, or pain after surgery.
Someone just asked the question, does X49 play a role in pain at all? And if so, what role?
That's a very interesting question. We don't have any studies. That's why I haven't mentioned it. With X49, the type of things that we have focused on have been looking at preventing bone loss By the way, I probably should mention it. Our X49 study on bone just got published. I can't reveal the name of the journal yet because I don't have permission, but we just got it published. So I'm really excited about that. So we'll be releasing that soon. So we were looking at how to improve bone density, which we showed in this study. We've been looking at exercise, reducing body fat, cognitive function, protection from 5G. So we don't have we have indicators, but we don't have a specific study looking at that. Carnosine is kind of interesting because we've seen for many years, carnosine will sedate the body and helps bring the body into a state of relaxation. So, so that's something that people could try. It's a lot more limiting. That's why X39, IceWave, glutathione, and Eon are the first up at bat here to try. But carnosine does in fact have a pain relief effect. It can.
Good. So some of the questions, we talked, a lot of them are on specific things, and we might get to a few of those, but one of them or several of them are also on just general. So like in general, if someone is feeling just muscle stiffness, soreness, maybe even waking up with headaches, or just in general kind of feeling yucky and sore all the time, what would the recommendation be?
Well, it depends on what the cause is. So if someone is sore because they worked out, then that's going to be a good soreness. And the lactic acid is actually a very, very powerful growth factor. Maybe this is a good time, since we're getting in the time of year, people are thinking about engaging in an exercise program in January. You don't necessarily want to wait till January, but one thing to keep in mind is that when we exercise, the goal is to put enough stress on the muscle so we'll create micro tears and we can rebuild and the muscle grows. So in order for that to happen, you got to feed the body with nutrients like enough protein and enough fatty acids. But when you're sore the next day, that is such a great thing, because the soreness is what is going to help the muscle grow. It's a signaling molecule. So that lactic acid, you take muscle fiber, put it in a petri dish, and you add lactic acid to it, the muscle fiber is going to grow. So the soreness is a good thing. So I'm going to assume this is the other type of soreness, which is maybe like arthritis, right? Yeah. Let's say someone's suffering with osteoarthritis. We would approach this exactly the same way as we would in the recommendations. Same use of patches, IceWave, 1 or 2 sets, one on the bottom of the feet, one up over here, 1 or 2 sets, X39 behind the neck, and then Eon either at the point of pain, or if it's general soreness throughout the body, just below the belly button. We always recommend that people build up a solid foundation. So that means work with your healthcare practitioner, have them put you on a proper diet. Don't eat as much processed foods. Drink enough water throughout the day. Stay away from things that we know is harmful, like drinking too much alcohol, right? Don't smoke. Don't do pharmaceuticals, all these kind of things. Get enough exercise. So give the body an environment that is supportive of healing. And then all the supplements that we have already talked about. So the idea here is that we're not just trying to reduce the soreness. What we're doing is providing an environment of healing. So that requires a holistic approach.
I love that. Somebody asked a question on IceWave specifically, and I think you talked a little bit about this in terms of, increasing energy flow and things. They asked, what is it that makes IceWave work? What is the mechanism, or what does it stimulate in the body?
Yeah, that's a fantastic question. So IceWave came out of the work that I was doing in Energy Enhancer, and that's why it followed. And so the 2 patches are very, very similar in that regard. in terms of mechanisms. So there are multiple things that are going on at the same time when you apply LifeWave. The first thing is that the patches contain stereoisomers of amino acids and sugars. They're processed in a very specific way so that they will stimulate the skin with low levels of light. This is known as photobiomodulation or low-level light therapy or phototherapy. Slight distinctions between each of those, but it's in that family of effects. What most people would recognize is that you go out in the sun and sun will elevate your vitamin D, right? That's light having a biochemical effect on the body. So we stimulate the skin with low levels of light. What that does is it increases production of cytochrome C oxidase. Cytochrome C oxidase is found in what's called the electron transport chain of the cell. It's in the mitochondria. And the mitochondria is what converts food over into cellular energy. So when we use light to increase cytochrome C oxidase, that will then increase energy production in the cell. But LifeWave and energy enhancers specifically turn on what's called beta oxidation, which is fat burning. So as we age, the amount of energy that we get from fat decreases, and the amount of energy we get from sugar increases. This is a really, really bad thing. So if we want to improve the health and the vitality of the cell, we've got to get the cell to start working the way that it did when it was younger. And one of the ways that we can do that is increase the amount of energy we get from fat. So LifeWave and energy enhancer are similar in the sense that they stimulate the skin, they crank up energy production, and they do that by increasing energy production from fat. The cell has more energy, and as a result, the cell expands and gets an electrical charge around it. This improves the flow of energy through the tissue, and pain starts to come down. That's the mechanism.
Wow, fantastic information. This is great stuff. Okay, you talked a little bit about energy enhancer and LifeWave being very similar, but someone's asking, well, what's the difference between Eon and LifeWave?
Oh, fantastic. So LifeWave is, because it's a bioelectrical effect, principally. It's biochemical too, in the sense that we're elevating fat burning. But essentially, with LifeWave, what we're going to do is increase the electrical activity in the body and get the energy to start flowing. We've measured this, and it's been published in studies. So we know that's what happens, and the pain comes down. So what would you want to do to improve upon that effect? Well, what we'd want to do is start to manage inflammation. Now, we don't want to eliminate inflammation in the body. Inflammation, when controlled, is required for our health. So when we have an injury, we want to tear down the old damaged tissue. As we age, we want to get rid of older cells. We do that with oxidative chemicals and with inflammatory chemicals. So we need it. It's when we age and the inflammation, our antioxidant system breaks down and our inflammation gets out of control. The inflammation starts to damage the stem cells and the healthy tissue. So Eon has a crazy number of health benefits. Of course, we've done webinars just on Eon. But one of the benefits relative to pain is that it will reduce a broad spectrum of inflammatory markers. So it will bring down inflammatory cytokines, C-reactive proteins or CRPs. It'll bring down homocysteine, which is correlated with heart attacks. It'll bring down lipid peroxides, which damage healthy cells. So the idea behind this is that we use LifeWave to get the flow of energy back through the tissue, and we use Eon to bring down inflammatory markers that are hanging around creating the pain.
Thank you so much. we have time for a couple more questions. It's amazing. These fly by so fast. There's so much information to
They do.
cover and so much good detail. And it's hard to believe we're 10 minutes from the top, 9 minutes from the top of the hour here. Somebody's asked about for sciatic nerve damage, shooting pain down the spine through the leg. How should someone apply LifeWave patches that would be most effective?
Fantastic question. So we have had so much success with sciatic nerve pain. It's really enjoyable when someone has been suffering from this and you can get them out of pain so quickly. So first thing is sciatic nerve pain is more or less, depending on how you look at it, going to start at the base of the spine. So you're going to want to put a tan patch on the point of pain, tan LifeWave on the point of pain at the base of the spine. Then the pain is typically going to radiate down one of the legs. Let's say it's the right leg. You're going to apply the white LifeWave patch to the top of the foot. So the pain, even if you don't feel, even if someone doesn't feel it there, the pain radiates down to the big toe. That's where the sciatic nerve will go. So let's say this is the foot. And there's your big toe. You can't really put a patch very easily on the big toe. You could, but we're going to recommend right in the soft tissue between the big toe and the next toe over. In acupuncture, that's a point called liver 3. So you're going to want to put the patch there, and that works really, really well. So a tan patch at the base of the spine at the point of pain, and then a white LifeWave patch on the top of the right foot. I would also use either X39 on the back of the neck or an Eon patch, let's say below the belly button, to support the inflammation. It may not be necessary, but for good practice, it's another tool that people have.
Perfect. And then kind of a little bit in the same vein there, for severe back pain, would you recommend X39 plus Eon or X39 plus LifeWave, or what kind of combination would you recommend for that?
So many great options here. We have the clock method, we have bracketing for pain, lots of options. So I would start with X39 because it's so good for overall health. And I might try the bracketing method first. So white on right, tan on left. And so someone could have their significant other, family member, friend, go up the spine, starting at the back, and just start to apply mild pressure to different points along the spine to find out where is the pain, where is the biggest point of pain, and then apply white on right, tan on left, apply bilaterally. Another way to do it is you could put the tan patch at the point of pain and then use the clock method to move the white patch around it to find the point of best pain relief. That's another way to do it. I would also look at what is the cause of the back pain. A lot of times, lower back pain is a way of your body telling you, hey, you have a weak core. You're not exercising enough. You need to get out there, lose some weight, strengthen up your core, and protect your lower back. So I would look at long-term working with someone that does rehabilitation, work with a personal trainer, but focusing on building up the muscles in the core, and that's going to protect the lower back. By the way, a warning sign. Sometimes lower back pain in men is associated with prostate inflammation. They go hand in hand. So I'm not going to make any claims. Definitely not. If you take the Eon patch, and so if a man has prostate inflammation and they apply the Eon patch to the point of pain on the lower back, right on the spine, they may find that their prostate symptoms improve. Now, prostate inflammation, elevated PSA, very, very significant, very concerning medical condition. We're only talking about inflammation and pain here. This is not a treatment. If someone is interested in a treatment for either benign prostate inflammation or prostate cancer, I strongly recommend that they speak with a healthcare practitioner about using the combination of DMSO and curcumin as a treatment.
Well, I love it. Well, we're again just about out of time here. I just want to wrap it up and bring it back to something you said at the beginning, David, which was around Nova and around kind of the theme for Nova, which is this idea of heart to heart. And there's just so much need today in the world. Pain and suffering is so common that the market is incredible. But more important than that, what the market is represented by is individual people. I had a really interesting experience this last weekend where, I've had a wonderful experience with the patches since starting with LifeWave, and so I shared with my mom, and she had a wonderful experience. Well, I was at a family function this weekend, and my aunt, unbeknownst to me, my mom has been talking to her and sharing videos and sharing information, and she comes up to me and she said, "Oh my gosh, I need to know more about this." And I just. But what really stood out to me, David, was the look in her eyes and just the idea that there was so much desire to fix the problems that she was facing. And it really brought that point that you were saying back to me, which is this heart to heart, is we're dealing with real people and these are real situations, and we have a real solution that can really help people. And when you frame it that way, it isn't about selling a patch, right? It's about helping. It's about lifting people up. So with that, thank you so much. And any last thoughts that you want to share as we close this out?
Actually, it's interesting you say that, Jeff, because years ago, I had the opportunity to attend a DSA meeting in Texas, and the founder of Amway was there. And he was, as you would imagine, was a fantastic speaker. And he said, I want you to keep in mind that what this industry is all about is building people up. That's what it is. We're servant leaders, and we should be out there helping people and building people up, not trying to sell anybody something. And I never forgot that. It was wonderful. And years ago, we had someone in the business who is no longer with us, and this individual will go unnamed. But he said to me, in your presentations, you're recommending products we don't sell. And I think it's a bad idea and you should stop doing it. And, my response was, well, then you really don't understand the business we're in, because we're here to help people in need. And I read a crazy amount of literature, and maybe something that I'm going to recommend is going to help somebody and solve a health problem. And I have an ethical responsibility to share that information, even if it has an impact on our sales. There's an ethical responsibility to share that information and help people in need. I also have, superhero syndrome, because you and I love to watch Marvel movies. So, there's a little bit of Iron Man in me that, just wants to help people just because, but in any case, that's why these LifeWave Connects are structured the way that they are. First thing, it would be totally disingenuous to tell people, put the patches on and that's all you got to do. That would not be the truth. The truth is, you need to build a foundation. People need to have a healthy diet, exercise, hydrate, get plenty of rest, and then our products are going to work great. They're going to work better, right? When people have that foundation. So that's why, we present things the way that we do, to give people the best opportunity possible to have an experience of healing, not have to suffer with some of these health conditions, and have a great quality of life. And I can't imagine doing things any differently.
Well, thank you so much. I know I send my personal gratitude for all that you do, and I see the comments here, and just a lot of gratitude for sharing that information, that knowledge, and blessing us with that foundational knowledge on how to improve our health. So thank you. With that, we'll go ahead and close out. Appreciate the time, David. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jeff. And I hope our community has a wonderful holiday season, whether or not that's Christmas or Hanukkah, New Year's, whatever you're celebrating. I think there's Kwanzaa now this time of year. Whatever it is, have a very blessed, safe, healthy, and happy holiday season. And looking forward to seeing you all next year.
All right, bye.
Bye now.